Hey guys, it's me, Seth, and here's another quick video. Lord of the Rings is hard to read for me. It's a very, very long book. Where's my copy of Lord of the Rings? Ah, yes. This is my copy of Lord of the Rings. It is gigantic. It's all 3-in-1 with several appendices in the back. It's gigantic, and it's really hard to read. I've never actually finished reading this book, um, simply because every time I sit down to read it, or every time I decide, okay, I'm going to read Lord of the Rings, I get about all the way through the first one, maybe, and then I'm about done, and it's just crazy. I think I've read almost all of the first one and half of the second one, maybe, but I've never actually been able to read it straight through, which is something I really want to do. So, today I went on a hunt, actually today and yesterday, I went on a hunt to find Lord of the Rings audiobooks, because I listen to books and I remember them pretty well. I like audiobooks. This was harder than expected. I had a Lord of the Rings audiobook a while back ago, which was a guy who was really boring and really hard to listen to because he just made you fall asleep. So today I was like, okay, I'm gonna set on a quest to find something else. So I ended up finding several things that were kind of interesting. One thing I found was a 13 episode BBC series that made the entire Lord of the Rings, all three books, and kind of read them, but also kind of abridged them, also kind of made actors in them in 13 hours, all three books. Yeah. It's super abridged, but it was interesting. I didn't finish it. But the actors were good, and Ian Holm, who plays Bilbo in the movies, played Frodo in the recording. So that was kind of interesting. It's from like 1979, 1988. I forget what it was. But that was pretty interesting and kind of cool. And an interesting attempt at doing that. Um, and I suppose I might finish reading that. I listened to that at some point. That was interesting. Then I found another thing which I thought was going to be the complete book dramatized. I'm not really a huge fan of dramatization, but with both of these dramatizations, I'm not a huge fan of dramatizations when it comes to reading books. But I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. Maybe this will be interesting. I start listening to it, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. The dramatization is good. Some of the voices are kind of hard to hear when they start, imitating dwarves too much, and you can't understand what they're saying for some reason. And I couldn't understand the word Gollum said or Gollum's me, whatever you want to call him, and that was interesting. But basically, the problem was that I kept on listening to it, and I was like, I've read this before. This isn't exactly how it happened. It was the right order, and everything that they said happened did happen, but they were skipping a lot of the details. They weren't reading the book. It looked like it was unabridged, but it wasn't. Then I found a third thing which said the complete recordings and all this other stuff, and it was a giant file, all this other stuff. Like, oh, finally, I found Lord of the Rings, and it looks like it's read by someone who's decent. Turned out that wasn't what I thought it was. That was Lord of the Rings, a complete soundtrack. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, there's no time where there isn't music in Lord of the Rings, the movies. So what I got was several hours worth of music. Um, so that was interesting, but it was like the complete song, so it was even longer than the movies, which was interesting. So that wasn't what I wanted, but that's what I found. And then I also found this little thing called The Last Ring Bearer. It's a psychologist's view of taking Lord of the Rings to the real world and showing that Lord of the Rings is actually a heroic retelling of a story that is actually um, to it's actually a heroic retelling of a war that both sides are both equally good and equally bad. It just so happens that the winning side got to write the story, and that's what came from Lord of the Rings. So apparently, it's the side from Mordor's view, and I thought that was interesting. It's because he took into the real world, and he's a psychologist and all that stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I haven't read it, but it's kind of short. It's like shorter than the first book of Lord of the Rings. So might read that. Might send it to my friend who's a big Lord of the Rings fan. That's what I found today. I found a bunch of things on Lord of the Rings that I didn't know existed, and I did not find the audiobook of Lord of the Rings. I really, really, really want to find the actual audiobook of Lord of the Rings and possibly a really good reader for it. Because the last guy I found, like I said, was really boring. So if you happen to know a place I can find one, that'd be great. Just leave comments down below if you know where I can find one, and I, you know, don't have any money for it. So that's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's basically all I had to say about Lord of the Rings. It's hard to find and stuff. Anyway, like, subscribe, do what you do, share, comment, whatever. Love you guys. See ya.